Good evening, Titans. This is Mr. Sturts. We're in lesson 8.4, and we're going to be graphing using Vertex Form today. So go ahead and open up your student journals. Let's get ready to take some notes, and here we go. Only one vocab word today, Vertex Form. We can go ahead and ignore even and odd functions. We're going to skip that for this section. So our one vocab word today is Vertex Form. And we need to use this form because now our graph is shifted horizontally. So we're going to move it left and right. We've been moving it up and down. Today we're going to be moving it left and right using Vertex Form. Alright, and it says where a doesn't equal 0, so a cannot be 0. The way we find our vertex using this form is our vertex is at the point h, k. Alright, h moves it left and right, k moves it up and down. So our axis of symmetry today is going to be at the point x equals h. So whatever our x coordinate of the vertex, same as before, that's our axis of symmetry. That's where our parabola is going to be reflected over. Alright, so our core concept, basically what all these words are saying is whatever h is, that is our horizontal translation. Alright, now notice in our formula we have x minus h. Okay, if we think back before, we've talked about this before, but we almost think as h as moving the opposite of what we see. So if it's x minus 2 in our parentheses, that's actually going to move to the right 2. We're thinking opposite. Okay, if it's x plus 2, that's going to move to the left 2. Alright, let's do it. We need a graph. Alright, and we have now a fraction 1/2 parentheses x minus 4 squared. Alright, and we can still think of everything as before, the same as before. 1/2, it's positive, so our parabola is going to open up. It's 1/2, so it's a vertical shrink, so it's going to be a little wider than normal. But let's go ahead and graph using, we're going to find our vertex. Now notice there's no k at the end. There's no number added on after the parentheses. So it's not going to move up or down, it's just going to move left or right. So when we find our vertex, that we said is going to be at the point h, k. Well, there's no k, so k is going to be 0. We can add 0 onto anything and it won't change it. So our vertex is going to be right here. And we said we think opposite, so if we see minus 4, our vertex is actually plus 4, 0, because there's no k. Alright, which leaves us at our axis of symmetry is at the point, or the line, x equals 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph our vertex. We're going to go 4, 0, so 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to plot our point there. We're still going to make our xy table, so we can plug in our vertex as our first point. Let's pick 2 to the right, so 5 and 6, just like before, and we're going to plug it back in. So we have 1/2, parenthesis, let's plug in our 5 minus 4, squared, and we need to solve. So parentheses first, order of operations, very important. 5 minus 4 is 1, 1 squared is 1, 1 times 1/2, well, anything times 1 is itself, so we get a 1/2 there. So we have 5, 1/2, and let's plug in 6. We have 1/2, and now we have 6 minus 4 squared. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 1/2 times 4, or 4 over 1. Remember, when we're multiplying fractions, let's put that whole number over 1. Multiply straight across, top and bottom. 4 over 2, that is going to be 2. Okay, we have our 3 points. Let's go ahead and graph those. So we have 4, 0 already. Let's go over to 5, 1/2, and 6, 2. And go ahead and draw in our axis of symmetry. That's our dotted line. Ooh, it's kind of tough, small graph here. Dotted line down the middle. If we reflect over that dotted line, we're going to have 1 on the left. And this is 2 away from our axis of symmetry, so we're going to go over here. And we have our parabola. Okay, if we do a little check, it's a little wider. That's good because our a value is less than 1, greater than 0. So it's a vertical shrink. It opens up, like we said, and it moves to the right 4 because this minus 4 shifts it to the right 4 units. Alright. If we do one more example here, Again, now it's plus 5, so our vertex is going to be at the point -5 because we think opposite. -5, 0 because there's no k, so we could say it's plus 0, which gives us our axis of symmetry at the point or the line x equals -5. Okay, we know this graph's going to move to the left 5. Now our xy table, we're going to plug in -5, 0. So if we go ahead and plot that, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put our point right there at 5, 0. We're going to 2 to the right, so -4, -3. If we plug those points in, let's see, didn't mean that line there. If we plug in -4 plus 5 squared, well, -4 plus 5 is 1. 1 squared is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. And if we plug in -3, -3 plus 5 squared, -3 plus 5 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay. Now we're going to plot those points. We have -5, 0. We have our axis of symmetry at -5. Here's our dotted line right down -5. So we have -4, 2. And -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to reflect. So we reflect on the other side of our axis of symmetry. It's 2 away. It is 2 away. And we have our parabola. Okay, and if we do our checks, it opens up because the 2 is positive. It's a little narrower, so it's a vertical stretch because that 2 is greater than 1. And it moves to the left 5 units. All right, last core concept here, vertex form. Now we have that plus k. So it really doesn't change anything except now we have a vertical shift with our horizontal shift. That plus k moves our graph up or down depending on if k is positive or negative. So now our vertex, we're not going to have h comma 0, we're going to have h comma k. All right, last example here. We got to go ahead and graph. Now we have a little bit of a longer equation here. It really doesn't change anything. We're still going to look for our vertex first. Our vertex, we said, is at the point h comma k. Now remember, we think opposite h there. So if it's a plus 2, we're actually going to say it's a -2, comma 3, because 3 is in our k spot there. So what this says is our graph's going to move to the left 2 and up 3. We see it's a negative, so we see it should reflect, so it should open down. Our axis of symmetry is at the line x equals -2. That's our x coordinate. And let's go ahead and go back to our xy table. -2, 3. That's our first point. That's our vertex. So go left 2, up 3, plot our point. We can go ahead and draw in our axis of symmetry at -2. So we know what to reflect over. And 2 points to the right. So -1, 0. If we plug in -1, let's write out this whole equation here. -2 times -1 plus 2 squared plus 3. Again, order of operations, very, very, very important here. Parentheses first, -1 plus 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So we have -2 times 1 plus 3. Again, order of operations, do multiplication first. So we have -2 plus 3, and we're going to get a 1. All right, now plug in 0. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of this so we have a little more room. If we plug in 0 to our equation, we have -2 times 0 plus 2 squared plus 3. 0 plus 2, parentheses first, is 2. 2 squared is 4. So we're left with -2 times 4 plus 3. Well, -2 times 4 is -8. -8 plus 3 is going to be a -5. So if we plot our points, -1, 1, 0, left to right 0, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we go ahead and reflect over our axis of symmetry, we've got our parabola opening down like we said it should. This plus 2 right here moves it to the left 2. This plus 3 shifts it vertically up 3. And we have our graph. This negative reflects it. The 2 is a vertical stretch because it's bigger than 1. And we have our translated parabola. All right, go ahead and go to your student journal. Open to page 263. You got a couple to practice here. Please try these out. We'll go over the answers in class tomorrow, and have a great rest of your night. Thank you for watching.